It's often said that some of the world's most terrifying creatures are hiding just beneath the surface. Fishing trips can turn into some of the most nerve-wracking experiences imaginable. From catching the world's largest snake to a group of biologists having a close call with an unidentified fish, here are the 15 scariest fishing moments ever caught on camera. Number 15. Trapped gas, big boom. As everybody knows, around the holiday season, nothing is worse than feeling icy, especially if it's just not going anywhere. Well, it turns out that whales experience the exact same thing on a much more severe scale. This man discovered that lesson the hard way as he unwisely began poking and prodding a beached whale with a stick. A free tip, don't do this. As this man soon discovered, whales are capable of building vast stores of gas in their stomach, and as we all know, all that gas has to go somewhere. But whales often don't get the opportunity. When a whale's carcass washes up onto the beach, the gas is often still trapped inside. And as this man found out, it's only a matter of time before all that gas violently explodes, often expelling the internal organs of the whale out with some force. Of course, the man has no idea how to deal with the guts and flees the scene, managing to avoid a fatal crushing by the incredibly heavy organs. The situation is quite a rare one, but an incredibly scary one. Just in case, let us remind you again, don't go prodding dead whales. If the smell alone doesn't kill you, a speeding whale's liver certainly will. Number 14. World's largest snake. I know, that's what they all say, but this time we're talking about an actual snake and one that definitely lives up to the title. The video captures a group of friends on a fishing trip, and as they attempt to hook something in the water, well, sure enough, they manage to catch something, but it's fair to say there's probably not what they were expecting. The friends pull out what looks to be a huge snake, and even that feels like an understatement. Obviously, the friends weren't familiar with snakes because, let's be serious, who goes fishing for snakes? They were so freaked out by the beast they caught that they decided to return it to its murky home rather than trying to work out what the heck it was, and honestly, who can blame them? To this day, I'm not sure anybody has any idea what kind of snake this was, but if you think you know, be sure to leave it in the comments below. I'd love to add it to my list of absolutely not species. Number 13. An underwater nose job. Is something that will surprise absolutely nobody. There is an utterly insane technique for fishing in Southeast Asia. How crazy, you ask? Well, this technique requires the angler to stick their head underwater to see the fish and then pull them out using their bare hands. Well, I put it that way, it doesn't sound so crazy. It's hard to see how this could possibly go wrong in any form, and the man in this video clearly believed the same thing. In fact, the man is clearly an experienced fisherman if this is what we're calling fishing and seems to be something of an expert. If you're interested in trying this at home, he demonstrates the technique with some speed until, of course, his legs start wildly thrashing around because, as we all know, experience teaches us quite a lot, but a snake digging his fangs into your nose will teach you a heck of a lot more. Thankfully, his sidekick came prepared and not just with his trusty bucket but with his weapon of choice, a good old-fashioned shoe. The guy quickly beats the snake with his boot before ripping the predator from his friend's nose. Of course, he performs the whole maneuver with such speed and skill, and it's recommended that you really study this if going with this technique. The video ends with the man's sidekick rushing off, presumably to share this hilarious, you won't believe what just happened anecdote with their colleagues. But ultimately, the big lesson from this video is that you should never dip your head into unclear or murky water unless your friend happens to be particularly talented with a shoe. That is. Number 12. Fishing hole anaconda. Talk about relatable. This huge anaconda was captured on camera treating itself to one meal after another at a local fishing hole. A fisherman in South America was minding his own business while trying to catch his dinner. He managed to catch something on his line, but of course, he soon discovered that this was no ordinary fish because it wasn't any fish. I already told you what it is, but just pretend you don't know for this next part. As he began to reel the fish in, he discovered that the fish had been half consumed by an anaconda, again, one of the largest snakes on Earth, who just wasn't interested in giving up a snack to some human. The anaconda drives and fights to keep holding the fish before the fisherman reluctantly lets go. Of course, the angler continued to record the incident and managed to capture actual footage of the anaconda digesting not just this catch but also eating just about every fish in the entire watering hole. Even nature loves all-you-can-eat feasts. To be up close to an anaconda is by itself a rather scary place to be, but being close to an anaconda while it's hungry enough to devour one animal after another, that's horror movie material. It's also very similar to this rider at most restaurants. Number 11. Coasting killer whale. This may not count as fishing per se, but stick with us. We think this qualifies as a particularly dangerous catch. The video shows a man paddle boat surfing off the coast of Australia when he suddenly notices a shadow in the water beneath him. Soon, his concerns are justified when a colossal killer whale ascends to the surface, trailing right behind him. Yikes! As the man remains calm and continues to paddle forward, the killer whale casually coasts beside him before disappearing back under the ocean. Close call. The whale likely mistook the board for some kind of seal or large fish, its ideal prey, and then decided to check it out. When it realized that its possible food was not either of those things, the whale decided to head back home and see what it could find underwater. A very close call that could have been the surfer becoming whale chow. The surfer no doubt was extremely thankful that the whale decided to check out its potential prey before attacking. Had the whale immediately attempted to attack, it's likely we'd never have seen this footage at all. In fact, it's likely the man would never have seen anything again. Whales aren't particularly picky about their food, preferring just to engulf whatever is closest. It's embarrassing how much of this reminds me of myself. Number 10. Alligator versus kayak. Well, if that last entry didn't make you reconsider that fishing trip to Florida, this one sure will. A man took his kayak out on the river early in the morning, hoping to get an early morning catch, but instead found himself on the receiving end of a vicious attack from a particularly aggressive alligator. Probably not the kind of wake-up call he expected. In seconds, the alligator leaps up and buries its jaws right into the kayak before launching into a series of maneuvers that send the boat rocking violently side to side. The video shows that the sheer force of shaking almost caused a total capsizing, which would have obviously been a fatal and devastating incident, but thankfully, the angler was smart enough to get out of the area as quickly as possible, preventing this incident from ending with some severe bloodshed. Experts have noted that alligators are particularly territorial during mating season, which could explain the aggressive behavior in this encounter. The angler later described the sound of the alligator's jaws clamping down on the kayak as like a gunshot, a chilling reminder of the sheer power these creatures possess. The video also shows the alligator's tail thrashing violently in the water, creating waves that made it even harder for the man to stabilize his kayak. Wildlife officials often advise kayakers to avoid narrow or shallow areas where alligators are more likely to feel cornered or threatened. The man's quick thinking and calm reaction likely saved his life, as panicking or trying to fight back could have escalated the situation. This incident has since gone viral, sparking debates about the risks of kayaking in alligator-infested waters and whether stricter safety guidelines should be enforced. Despite the terrifying encounter, the angler expressed gratitude for surviving and even admiration for the alligator's raw power, though he admitted he wouldn't be returning to that river anytime soon. We recognize that this video probably isn't painting Florida in a totally positive light, so we should probably balance it out, but unfortunately, this writer doesn't get paid for product placement or tourism ads, so we're not going to. Sorry, Florida. As with the last clip, this is an incident where a single wrong move or panic could have proven fatal. Alligators and crocodiles are two of the most feared animals on the planet, and this video demonstrates exactly why. Again, we recognize that we're not painting kayaks as a safe or smart thing to do, but sorry, kayakers. Number 9. Catching a hammerhead. If there's one fish you don't want to find while out on the water, it has to be a shark, or literally any of the other fish I've mentioned in this video. Anyway, these two guys were lucky enough to do just that. While fishing off the coast of Florida, the guys happened to get their line caught on something particularly strong, managing to pull it in. They were nothing short of stunned to find that it's not just a shark but a hammerhead shark. This is where you should be concerned. In case you've forgotten, sharks are bad for humans. Very bad. The guys immediately attempt to bring it close to the surface so they can remove the hook and set the beast free into the ocean. But of course, a shark doesn't have any interest in helping humans ever and begins violently thrashing in the water to make the task near impossible. Hammerhead sharks are known for their incredible strength and agility, making them particularly difficult to handle in situations like this. The unique shape of their head, while fascinating, also gives them an advantage in sensing movement and vibrations in the water, which likely added to their agitation. The fishermen later admitted that they were both terrified and in awe of the shark's sheer power as it twisted and turned in the water. Experts often advise anglers to avoid bringing sharks too close to the boat, as their thrashing can cause injuries or even damage the vessel. The men's quick thinking and careful handling of the situation likely prevented a more dangerous outcome. This encounter serves as a reminder of the risks involved in deep-sea fishing, especially when dealing with apex predators like sharks. While the shark is never in a position to lash out at the fear, it's clearly agitated, making this a dangerous situation to be in. One wrong move and that shark could easily spin around and take its shot. Luckily, the guys managed to unhook the shark and send it back into its deep blue home. Still, I imagine many anglers would struggle to think of a scarier situation than capturing one of nature's most notorious predators. While it may not have as big a bite as we're all myself, sharks are no less dangerous to their prey. Number 8. School crossing. In case it's not apparent, whales' mouths are beyond enormous, capable of chomping up high, possibly humans, in a single bite. This local kayaker discovered that lesson for himself. A man kayaking somewhere in the Pacific prepares himself for a spot of fishing only to witness the majesty of a feeding sperm whale gulping down a school of fish just feet away from his boat. It's an incredibly scary and majestic sight. Obviously, it goes without saying that this is an incredibly dangerous situation. As we've seen multiple times, whales often just gulp down whatever happens to be in the general area of their mouth, and while the man seems to be having an absolute whale of a time, thank you, he got incredibly lucky here. The sheer size of the whale's mouth, which can open up to 20 feet wide, is enough to make anyone feel insignificant in its presence. Experts have noted that while sperm whales primarily feed on squid and fish, their feeding behavior can unintentionally trap other objects, including boats or kayaks, in their massive jaws. The kayaker later described the experience as both awe-inspiring and terrifying, admitting that he had no idea how close he was to becoming part of the whale's meal. The water around the kayak churned violently as the whale lunged upward, creating waves that nearly tipped the small vessel. Marine biologists often warn kayakers and boaters to maintain a safe distance from feeding whales, as their unpredictable movements can pose serious risks. This encounter serves as a reminder of the raw power and unpredictability of nature, even when dealing with creatures as seemingly gentle as whales. Despite the danger, the kayaker managed to capture stunning footage of the event, which has since gone viral, sparking debates about the risks of human interaction with marine life. While attacks on humans are rare to non-existent, as you can see from these videos, they're not particularly concerned about what exactly they eat as long as they get to eat something. For that reason, we as humans must always be fed well to ensure that if we are consumed by whales, we can offer the most calories possible. This really is our way of giving back to the environment. I will not take comments on this. Number 7. Doggone alligators. As that classic song goes, never smile at a crocodile. Okay, so this is an alligator and not a crocodile, but never smile at an alligator doesn't quite have the same satisfying rhythm. Either way, that's the lesson that this curious little dog learned when exploring the banks of a Florida river. While our furry little friend idly explores the great Florida outdoors, the cameraman happens to capture the moment which almost saw the devastating loss of man's best friend. Of course, the whole incident could have been avoided had the owner and cameraman decided to warn his little dog of the impending doom. Still, thankfully, the dog was agile and aware enough to leap out of the way when the alligator made its attack. The alligator's sudden lunge from the water was so quick and silent that it was almost impossible to predict, showcasing just how dangerous these predators can be. Experts often warn pet owners to keep their animals on a leash near bodies of water in Florida, as alligators are known to target small animals. The dog's quick reflexes were likely the only thing that saved it, as alligators can strike with incredible speed and force. The cameraman's decision to keep filming rather than intervene has sparked debate online, with some viewers criticizing his lack of action. Others argue that the situation unfolded so quickly that there may not have been time to react in any meaningful way. Regardless, the video serves as a stark reminder of the risks of letting pets roam freely in areas where alligators are present. Of course, he probably didn't feel like man's best friend after he realized that his best buddy was filming the whole thing rather than helping, but that's for a future video on 15 worst pet owners. This little pup's close call could easily have taken a more serious turn, and it's really down to sheer luck that the little guy managed to walk away without a single injury. Still, I doubt he's going to be taking a swim in the wild anymore. Poor little guy. Number 6. A very close call. I'll be on a list of fishing moments. Believe me when I say I'm as surprised as you are. But imagine how these guys felt after heading up to Canada for a nice, quiet fishing trip in the open air. The group of guys were given the shock of their life looking out over the river. They spotted what seemed to be a massive bear swimming across the river with some speed. Can you believe some people call fishing boring? Clearly, they've never caught a bear before. The guys can't even come up with a coherent strategy. The bear reaches dry land and starts to race toward them. For those of you that might be unfamiliar with bears, everything you've been told in cartoons is a lie. They're not all willing to sing and dance and eat honey. The sheer size and speed of the bear left the group frozen in fear for a moment, as they realized just how quickly the situation had escalated. One of the men later described the bear's movements as like a freight train, barreling through the underbrush with incredible force. The group's initial panic led to some frantic shouting, which likely only added to the bear's agitation. Experts later pointed out that the bear was likely just trying to cross the river and felt threatened by the sudden presence of humans. The men's decision to back away slowly was the right move, as running or making sudden movements could have triggered the bear's predatory instincts. This encounter serves as a stark reminder of how unpredictable wildlife can be, especially in remote areas where humans are the intruders. As the guys come to realize they've accidentally intruded on the bear's territory, they resort to a go-to strategy ingrained in humans since childhood: throw rocks at it and hope the situation goes away. Of course, to the surprise of nobody, that doesn't really work on the bear. Probably made it angrier. Still, the guys did the right thing eventually, gathering their items in the least panic-stricken way. They slowly backed away and managed to escape with their lives intact. There's a free lesson for all of you. Please please don't throw rocks at bears. It only angers them. Number 5. The hungry whale. The humpback whale is typically regarded as one of the most human-friendly animals in the open ocean, but that doesn't mean they're necessarily safe to be around. Case in point, this group of marine biologists went to work photographing humpback whales in the wild or attempted to. Suffice to say, this is not a list of the most wholesome encounters with fish. As the video shows, the water is so murky and unclear that the biologists had no way of knowing how close the whales actually were. While the biologists on the boat attempted to help, the underwater photographers could only rely on the sudden influx of small fish, and even that warning came too late. When the fish started fleeing, that means there are some very hungry whales nearby. Humpback whales are known for their bubble net feeding technique, where they create a circle of bubbles to trap schools of fish, and this behavior can be unpredictable and dangerous for anyone nearby. The biologists later explained that the whales likely didn't even notice the divers, as their focus was entirely on the massive school of fish they were hunting. One of the photographers described the experience as both awe-inspiring and terrifying, noting that the sound of the whale's approach was like a deep, rumbling thunder underwater. The sheer force of the water displaced by the whale's movements was enough to knock one of the divers off balance, adding to the chaos of the moment. Despite the danger, the biologists were able to capture stunning footage of the whales in action, providing valuable insights into their feeding habits. This encounter serves as a reminder that even the most seemingly gentle creatures in the ocean can pose a risk when humans venture too close to their natural behaviors. The on-ship biologists pull on the wires to help get their friends out, but it's too late. The whales sweep up and then gulp their food. It's hard to envision just how huge a whale's mouth is, but it's not entirely far off the length of a standard school bus. The sheer fact that these guys survived such a close encounter is an achievement unto itself. Thankfully, this has a happy ending. The biologists got back onto the boat safely and with far better photographs than they ever could have hoped for. Still, this is probably an experience they won't be attempting to recreate. There's a lot of empty space in a whale's stomach for photographers. Number 4. The flying barracuda. No, this isn't actually referring to a band bar or obscure karate move. Oh, that was a great name for any of those things. This is easily one of the most dangerous situations and close calls on our list. While fishing for tuna and other large fish out on the ocean, 2 guys managed to get a catch unlike any other. As their catch desperately tried to wriggle free of the line, it made one final shot at freedom, leaping out of the water, narrowly missing one of the guys and landing right in the boat. What are the chances? That fish was, of course, the barracuda, one of the most dangerous and intimidating fish in the entire ocean. For context, the barracuda is not unlike the piranha in its ferocious appetite and brutal manner of consumption, often eating its prey by severing it in half with a single bite. The sheer speed and power of the barracuda make it a formidable predator, capable of reaching speeds of up to 36 miles per hour in short bursts. Its sharp, dagger-like teeth are designed to tear through flesh with ease, and its aggressive nature has earned it the nickname, the tiger of the sea. In some cases, barracudas have been known to attack shiny objects, mistaking them for prey, which is why divers are often warned to avoid wearing jewelry in waters where they are present. The men in the boat were lucky that the fish didn't thrash around more violently, as its sharp teeth and powerful body could have caused serious injuries. The incident serves as a reminder of how unpredictable fishing in the open ocean can be, with even experienced anglers finding themselves in dangerous situations. The footage of the event has since gone viral, with viewers marveling at the close call and the sheer audacity of the barracuda. All that considered, it's fortunate that the fish happened to miss both of the men. Likely, had the fish caught parts of their face, it would have significantly destroyed the flesh right down to the bone. It's definitely one of the scariest situations on this list and incredibly fortunate in the way it turned out. That said, I have absolutely no idea how they got it off the boat, so don't ask about that. Number 3. Piranha power. There may be no more dangerous fish on the planet than the legendary piranha, capable of unbelievable damage and an incredibly quick speed. This video proves exactly why such a small fish is so feared. A man fishing on the Amazon hopes to catch some larger fish than usual, utilizing live bait to attract the biggest fish possible. Of course, things don't exactly go to plan. Casting out his line, he waits for a moment and immediately gets a bite, or several. As you can see in the video, the piranhas don't just nibble on the bait, they feast until the last bite. The water churns violently as the school of piranhas tears into the bait, creating a frenzy that looks like something out of a horror movie. Experts have noted that piranhas are most aggressive when food is scarce or during the dry season when water levels drop, forcing them into tighter spaces. The man's reaction in the video is a mix of awe and terror as he realizes just how quickly the fish can strip their prey. While piranhas rarely attack humans, their ability to devour larger animals in seconds has earned them a fearsome reputation. This particular encounter serves as a stark reminder of the raw power and efficiency of nature's most notorious predators. As he begins reeling the bait in, You can see the frenzied bubbles attacking the body until the fish is finally retrieved with basically nothing left on it. A mere skeleton where its body once was. The fish has been completely and utterly decimated by the piranhas all in a matter of seconds. It really puts those speed-eating hot dog guys to shame, doesn't it? There are a few animals more frightening than the piranha, and this video clearly demonstrates why. With a unique and incomparable ability to gnaw their prey down to the bone in seconds, there's little chance for success when it comes to an encounter with this fearsome fish. It's gonna take more than a Disney movie to make these little guys appealing. Number 2. Anaconda attack. Of course, it's not just alligators and Italians who seem to hate the very presence of boats in their hometowns. A Florida man took his small boat out onto the river to explore the local fish and frogs in the shallower areas of the banks. But before he could find anything of note, something of note found him: an anaconda. Yes, that's what I said, an anaconda. The snake wastes no time trying to pull the guy into the water, attacking the boat with aggressive and erratic swiping motions. The sheer size of the snake is enough to send chills down anyone's spine, with its thick, muscular body coiling around the edge of the boat as it tries to tip it over. Experts have noted that while anacondas are not native to Florida, escaped or released exotic pets have been known to thrive in the state's warm, swampy environment. The man's quick reflexes and use of the oar likely saved his life, as anacondas are known for their ability to constrict their prey with immense force. Witnesses later described the encounter as something straight out of a horror movie, with the snake's head lunging repeatedly at the man as he fought it off. The video of the incident has since gone viral, sparking debates about the dangers of invasive species in Florida's waterways. Wildlife officials have urged residents to report sightings of large, non-native snakes, as they pose a significant threat to local ecosystems. Thankfully, our captain is not just going to allow himself to be dragged into certain death by a snake of ridiculous proportions. Grabbing his or the captain defends himself by fighting the snake. Yes, fighting the snake. Again, it's probably important for reasons that we warned against fighting snakes of biblical proportions. Still, if you somehow got yourself into that situation, you may as well go down fighting. Thankfully, the captain just about manages to wrestle off the massive beast, but this is no doubt one of the most terrifying fishing videos on the internet. Could you even imagine being dragged into the murky depths of a Florida river by a snake that is far, far, far bigger than you? I'll take a hard pass on that one, thank you. Number 1. Lightning fast. And now we come to our number 1 fishing moment caught on camera, and it's a pretty frightening one. Of all the animals out there in the deep, dark ocean, none of them hold a candle to nature's most unpredictable tool, the weather. That's right, the weather. A man in Louisiana headed out on the bayou for a session of kayaking, but things soon turned for the worse. Yes, I said the weather. As the dark clouds came in, he turned around and started on the way back, only to realize he was too late. A violent thunderstorm had kicked in. The video captures the moment in which a lightning blast hits the water approximately 30 or 40 feet ahead of him. The sheer force of the lightning strike sent ripples across the water, and the sound was deafening, leaving the man visibly shaken. Experts have noted that water is an excellent conductor of electricity, meaning that even being near a lightning strike on the water can be fatal. The man's quick thinking to stay low and avoid touching the water likely saved his life, as standing or paddling aggressively could have made him a target. This incident serves as a stark reminder of how quickly weather conditions can change, especially in areas like the bayou, where storms can form with little warning. Many seasoned anglers and kayakers recommend always checking the weather forecast and carrying a weather radio to avoid such dangerous situations. The footage has since gone viral, with viewers commenting on how lucky the man was to escape unharmed and how terrifying the power of nature can be. If he had been going a little quicker, that lightning blast would have hit his kayak and likely killed him. It's always worth remembering that fishing is an incredibly dangerous sport in many unexpected ways, but the weather always proves to be one of the most consistently threatening aspects of any trip. You see, sharks, snakes, whales, or fish can be subdued sometimes, but as yet, there is no way to handle or contain lightning. But doctors have been very clear on that. Have you ever had a terrifying experience while fishing or a close call with a whale? Share your story in the comments below. Also, don't forget to check out our other cool videos showing up on the screen right now. See you next time.